Hello everybody, and happy anniversary! That'll only make sense to one of you. However, today I made the Pokemon LUVDISC into a little tiny small model that you can also make too. It's a lot more simple than I'll usually do, but you know. I do apologise for the short video, I will be explaining that later. However, in the meantime, let's get right into sculpting. To start off, I need to attach these little acrylic rods to this silicone mould that I have. This is going to act as the base of the two love discs, these acrylic rods being able to hold them up. I mixed 2 parts of resin A and B in 50-50 ratio, as that's the one that I bought. There are different kinds. If you don't have resin, you can just use clay for this part, and if you don't have the acrylic rods, you can use just plain metal wire to hold them up too. I then get a little wooden popsicle stick thingy and I mix it. Usually you don't, I mean, it's very good practice to mix it as much as you can, but I feel like I do go slightly overboard. I mix it for like 10 minutes. I don't think you really need to do that. Plus then I have to mix in the colourant on top of that. Doing your own colours, you know, I went with kind of a mix of a little bit of blue and a little bit of brown. The brown kind of makes the blue a little bit darker and also kind of makes it more of an earthy kind of blue, not so vibrant. But after that, I then put on some gloves, as that is, you know, you don't want to get resin on your fingers. I've done it before, it's just not nice. But then I let that cure while I start beating the clay so that I can roll it out and start cutting out the little love disc. Usually you'd see me using, you know, foil in my sculptures, but because this is thin, it's thin enough that it can bake evenly, but thick enough that it won't snap. So I don't need any, which is, you know, a first for me. I usually always stress out about armature. But I cut out the little love disc, trying to get it as close to just a generic heart shape as I can, and then using my fingers I kind of flatten out the edges, making sure that it is even on both sides though. Now, as smooth as this sculpture is going to be, it's kind of inevitable that there will be small imperfections, and really I just come to terms with that. But anyways, I start carving in using this sort of sharp silicone tool, and I make, you know, the mouth area. It does look a little strange right now, so I do have to take off some clay, and it's very good to always kind of go back and forth, making sure that you know exactly how it looks. Using this ball tool, I press into the eye detail and then add the little eyeball in there as well, and also the little dot on the cheek. Instead of just painting on these details, I add them using clay because when it comes to the painting process, it's actually easier. It kind of gives it an outline that you would actually see on the artworks of the Pokemon, so it's quite a nice detail. I do also, of course, press in to the bottom and add the acrylic rod just so that there's a hole there, so that when I bake it, you know, the hole is there and I don't have to drill one in because that'll probably cause it to crack. And of course, I then go in and do the exact same process again for the second one. They aren't going to look exactly identical, and if anything, that's a good thing. Kind of gives them a bit more personality. I do the exact same details like I just said. The eyes, the cheeks, the mouth. It's very simple. And, you know, going with that sharp tool, and then I stick the acrylic rod in, and then make sure that it's blended nicely. After they're baked, I then have to paint it. Oh my gosh, this is... Now, you might think the sculpting is the worst process. No. The painting is the worst. Why? Because the colours... Now you might just be thinking, oh, love this pink. No, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shades. Yeah, I didn't know which one to pick, and it kind of stressed me out a little bit. So I spent ages mixing different colours, but in the end I landed on this one. It's kind of a mid-tone. It's not too dull, but it's also not too dark and rich and vibrant. It's kind of it's a good mid-ground for LUVDISC, really. Now, of course, I did have 2 leftover acrylic rods to paint them on. One of them was short, so I could add a little bit of foil to hold it up, and then the other one, I couldn't set it down while it was drying, so I kind of just went a little bit insane And then of course I did a second coat, but that's really boring and I don't think you really want to see that. After that I go in with this pink. It's not white, it is it's a very, very light pink. It's pretty much white on camera, but in you know, in person it's not white, it's pink. So I paint that on the mouth and on the cheeks. You might not be able to see, but I did actually leave kind of between the cracks of the lips the dark pink to give it that sort of outline I was talking about. Now, earlier I said putting it on as clay first and then painting over it gives it those kind of outlines. If you kind of see the shadows do that work, the shadows do that work. I do mess up, so I do just go back in with pink. And then for the eyes, start off with black. Just black is very scary to use because if you mess up, it's going everywhere. So I had to be very gentle and careful. It doesn't help that my hands are the shakiest that they've ever been, really. But of course after that I just went in with this little ball tool with some white and added that little highlight just to bring it to life fully. Now, there are so many things out there which is like, you know, turning this Pokemon into a realistic looking Pokemon, and oh my gosh, they are the most amazing videos. I love those, but I didn't want to do that for this one. This is something simple that you could possibly do at home, and please tell me if you do it, or even just another Pokemon based off of this. Now, also, of course, I demold the resin base. I will quickly tell you my idea behind the base. It's supposed to kind of look like the little circles that go under Pokemon when you're in a Pokemon battle. You know, do you know what I'm talking about? You know, when you're in a Pokemon battle and they kind of on the other side of the screen just doing their little idle animation, and then there's the circle beneath them. That's kind of what I'm trying to mimic with this. I don't know if I can find a picture of it online, I don't know. Anyways, I clip them, the acrylic rods to the right size. I do have to kind of go back and forth to make sure that they're the right size and that they don't overlap each other or, you know, do anything annoying. And then I go in with some super glue. I just stick them on. It's, you know, it dries in seconds, so I had to be very careful. And there was a little bit of hesitation here. I was like, oh no, what do I do? Then I just put it on. That was really strange. I'm sorry. Then I go in with some gloss, just painting it all over just to make them look a little bit glossy. Real question here, what does a LUVDISC smell like? Because I really hope that a LUVDISC doesn't actually smell like a fish. That would be quite unfortunate. Does it smell like roses? I think it probably smells like roses. Anyways, after that's done, it's of course finished. It's a very simple one. You see all the little imperfections. You know, in the end, it's just something simple that you could do at home. I will take the time to quickly say happy anniversary to the person that this is going to. Now, I can't really say, you know, subscribe if you want to see more like this, because there isn't really more like this. I usually do bigger, more complicated sculptures, not tiny ones like this, so it is a little bit different. But subscribe if you want to see that kind of stuff. Anyways, have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!